Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so no fan, no intro. Unless you want to sing a song. Do you want to sing a song? No. What's that plastered on smile? Okay, so this is my cousin Caroline. Say hello, everybody.
Hi, I'm cousin Caroline.
Hi, cousin Caroline. Of the reality show, Cousin. Our reality show that will never be made.
Probably not.
But it was her idea that we would do a reality show, Cousin. So every Wednesday, my cousin Caroline picks me up and we run around and we do errands and we have a lot of fun. And so today while we were out, well, okay, so first of all, before I get in this video, we just filmed a review video when we were at Target. So go over to my review channel if you want to see us review the Oreo Coke. Don't give away the secrets.
No secrets. You have to go watch it.
But for those of you that follow my Instagram, I put a lot about this on my Instagram last night. We had a really, really rough night with our little dog, Boo Radley. We had to take him to the emergency vet last night. He's doing fine. We're actually sitting in my driveway. I just went inside and checked on him. He's asleep. He's doing great. And so he is doing good today, and we have a vet appointment tomorrow morning. But it was very, very scary last night. I woke up today to literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I mean, literally hundreds of tons of messages of people sending me prayers and kindness and love. And I just want to say, from the bottom of my heart, it means so much to me that you guys are just sending so much love and prayer and blessings and positivity, and that you guys care so much about our little dog, and it just means the world to me. So today, because Caroline was like, you know, you could have canceled if you wanted to. I was like, I just want to like get my mind off things a little bit. And so I'm forever grateful for you getting me. My cousin Caroline, for those of you that don't know.
You could give me this bracelet.
We'll get to that in just a second. My cousin Caroline and I, for those of you that do not know, are big, huge dog lovers. And my cousin, you actually started, can you explain the Greyhound Rescue with the President that you started?
I co-founded Prison Greyhounds, where we got greyhounds from racing tracks in Florida, and we fostered them in the prison system. So I'm no longer a part of that organization, but it's still up and running. It's a great organization. So just go to, I think it's prisongreyhound.org if you want to find out more.
And you just rescued a dog that's 5 years old, Mabel.
She's 6, Mabel. We got her from Love the Pet Project. They adopt a lot from, or they foster a lot from breeders. And our dog that we got, Mabel, she's a Min Pin, and she was a breeder dog for 6 years.
And she bred like 30 dogs or something like that.
Probably 5 or 6 litters. So, and they, you know, just get rid of the breeder moms when they. So with Mabel that's 6, and then we have Lola, who's a Dachshund mix. She's 14, and we got her from the Indie Humane Society. And then Rivy, who is a black lab. I told that story the other day. Oh, we won it from we went to an Alzheimer's Foundation event, and we won him. I think he's actually 13. We won him as a puppy.
So Caroline's a big dog lover as well, and so she was so sweet today. And actually, in our review video that we did, you got a little emotional about Little Boo Radley. It's sad. So he's doing good, and I just want to say, I mean, he's tired, he's very lethargic. We think we're in the beginning stages of dog dementia, but I just want to say thank you so much for the love. I literally was sitting on the front porch when Caroline picked me up, and I was just bawling because the messages were so kind and sweet. So I was like, do you care if we film some videos while we're out? That way when I go home I can just spend some time with Boo and all that kind of stuff. So I've got all my stuff on the front porch to do a haul, which will take me like 10 minutes, and then after that I'm just gonna spend some time with Boo until Alex gets home. So thank you for getting me out today. You are so, I mean, I'm so grateful for our relationship that has grown so much in the last couple years, and it's incredible. And I'm so incredibly grateful for you picking me up. So, okay, speaking of the bracelet, though, so I was telling Caroline this today. I told this story. So we have a little Q&A that we put up on Instagram, so I have a bunch of questions that we're going to answer here in a second. But I told this story the other day, and I was telling Caroline, people were like, oh, I love Caroline's vibe. I love Caroline's energy, because we were in the car one day, and I have given Caroline so many lip glosses and things through the years. And so I pulled out this lip gloss, and it was the Fenty Bomb lip gloss. And I said, oh, this is so nice, you should try it. And she tried it. And I said, except I don't like it because it gets in the corners of my mouth. And she's like, oh, it doesn't happen to me. She goes, you should give this to me. And I go, Caroline, it's my only lip gloss. And she goes, if you loved me, you would give. I do it. Just take it. She's like, if you loved me, you would give it to me.
Is it this one right here?
It's this one right here. It's this one. Does it really look that pretty?
It does look pretty.
So today we're driving around. I have this cheap ass wooden bracelet on that I love. And what did you say to me? You said,
can I have that bracelet?
Can I have that bracelet? And I go, no, you can't have this bracelet. And what did you say? How many more do you have at home?
Can I just have that one?
Can I just have that one?
And he's not giving it to me, even though he's so thankful for me. He won't even give me his wooden bracelet. Oh, yay!
Just take it, sweetie. They're just things.
No, it's too big. You keep it.
And I said, but you have such pretty bracelets. I love that watch that you have on.
That
is a gorgeous watch.
Peter got me that.
I got you that watch. Oh, I did? Okay.
It was 2 years ago.
Okay. So should we get to these questions?
Yes, we should get to the questions.
She's been changing her hair 15 times. She's very concerned that you guys won't think she's pretty. Isn't my cousin Caroline
That's
so
not
pretty?
true.
She knows. No, she knows she's pretty. Okay. Okay, let's get to these questions. Did you guys have any family traditions growing up? We had lots of family traditions growing up.
Well, you'll remember them more than me.
I mean, because I said this in a video. So Caroline hasn't. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this today, other than I can just go inside and spend time with Boo, and I said you got to give me 30 or 40 minutes because with the review she was trying to shut it down real quick. Shut it down. She got a girls' dinner tonight. Okay,
no, not tonight. You're getting my nights confused.
Oh, you got a family, not family dinner, but you've got a family friend dinner tonight.
Yeah, friends of my parents.
Girls' dinner was last night.
Mm-hmm, it was so good.
Wedding last weekend. Girls' trip the weekend before that. Girls' trip the weekend before that. Girl, you've had so much.
Last weekend was funeral. Then the weekend before was wedding. Then my birthday trip, then family Michigan trip, and then
I asked in the review, so I'm gonna ask her here now, okay? And I know that you love your husband, and I adore your husband, and you know I love she knows where this is going. But if you had to for the rest of your life only take girls trips or only take trips with your husband.
Well, the problem is
he doesn't want to go anywhere.
No, Mike doesn't want to go anywhere. So I love being with my husband and my family. He just doesn't like to travel.
But you would take the girls trips.
He agrees. No, I can't say that. I can't, especially being filmed.
Okay, but would you like your
record.
birthday trip? You went to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You like hung out at the beach. You got wasted at a drag brunch. I mean, you did. You said that. I mean, would that be the kind of trip you take with Mike? Probably not.
No.
No. I mean, you guys go and like hang out and have, you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and hang out and go to bed at 8.
Yes, we go to bed early and we watch movies. And Mike likes to go to the exact same places. We go to the same place in Florida every March, and we go to the same place in Michigan every August.
Do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so family tradition. So, I said this in a video not too long ago, that my cousin Caroline, I love her to death, but like when she was like 17, she like came out of this like marijuana haze, and she was like, oh my God, I'm 17, what happened, I'm popular? That's the truth. We were at our wedding, and this friend of ours, that Caroline, you know she's watching it right now too, because she'll remember this story. So it's the day of our wedding, and Caroline's laying next to her. My cousin Caroline, whenever I say this story, people are like, there were no sororities in high school. Caroline was in a sorority in high school, and it was called Dolls. And so, it was like the popular girls. I was not the popular girls.
I don't feel like I was friends with everybody in high school.
You were kind of
plumper in it. I can feel it on my lips.
You were kind of the wild child, though. So, but our friend was like sitting next to Caroline. She was rebellious. She was sitting next to our friend, and so our friend said, "Caroline, I mean, you were so popular in high school." Caroline never talks about high school anymore. I mean, every once in a while she'll be like, "Oh, somebody that looks like somebody I went to high school with," but never talks about high school. And so our friend was like, "Caroline, you were so popular in high school," and she was like, "No, I really wasn't." And her friend goes, "Yes, Caroline, you were." And she's like, "I mean, you were in Dolls." And Caroline's like laying there like this, and I've told this story so many times. And she goes, "I mean, Caroline, you were in Dolls," and Caroline was like, whatever, you know. And then she goes, "I mean, Caroline, you were secretary of Dolls," and Caroline goes, "I was president of Dolls." You care a little bit. Okay, family traditions. But you don't remember anything from our childhood.
Well, I mean, as far as family traditions, we all got together for all the holidays.
Christmas Eve was always very dressy. Mm-hmm. Very dress up, candlelight.
And probably when I was in high school, Mom started having that Christmas Eve party with like all of her friends. And do you remember that? We'd go over there. The
gay guys that would come and dance until 3 o'clock in the morning. Yes. Yeah, that was always fun. Mm-hmm. The thing is that Caroline and I grew up around a lot of alcoholism, but it was fun when we were growing up. I mean, there were scary moments, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of parties. I remember us sitting on your parents' couch, like in that corner, which had those kerosene glass lamps.
Yes, I wish.
And it would be like everybody telling stories, and I mean, it would be like
Mom had a lot of parties. So the traditions I think that I remember is just we had every holiday.
It was very anti-Mame. I know you haven't seen that movie, but it was very anti-Mame-ish.
Then Christmas Day, and we'd either do it at your house before your mom moved here.
Well, don't you
That's
remember
when
how
I was
it
really
switched?
little.
So we used to always do Christmas Eve at Caroline's house, Christmas Day.
At your parents' house.
Yeah, well, my parents got separated when I was like 5, so. But we used to always
at
do
your
that.
mom's house, yeah.
But one Christmas Eve, this was like the thing my mom like felt so bad about her entire life. We drove back from my Aunt Kathy and Uncle Dave's house, which is like, Caroline grew up like 1 block from where I live. And so we, with our grandma that went to prison, that we found out later, and my mom put the car in the ditch. And so, because it was not good, because she'd been drinking. So after that, we had to hitchhike back to the house and stuff. After that, we always had Christmas Eve at our house. Because, of course, it's not about the drinking, right? Like, that was always our family. It's not about the drinking. It's about situational. So we always did Christmas Eve at our house and then Christmas Day at your house from then on.
Okay, I don't really remember that.
So that we didn't have to, my mom didn't have to drive on Christmas Eve.
Thanksgiving we always had together. So not so much
Easter.
Easter.
Oh, here's a
Easter.
tradition. So Caroline's mom, my Aunt Kathy, would have us do an Easter egg hunt until we, I think, were 35. And there would always be...
If she was still living, we'd still would
if
do
there
it.
was, she would make us do it. And there would be 2 big eggs, and they would have like a $20 bill in
Yeah,
it.
golden eggs.
Golden eggs. For her specials. She'd say, these are for my specials.
She did that at Halloween, too. Like, the kids that she liked in the neighborhood, she'd, like, pull them aside and go, oh, here's a special treat for you.
And it would be like a PlayStation or something. I mean, it was.
No, it wasn't. Okay, what's the
I mean,
next
the
question?
one Christmas when David, your son, was younger, I'll never forget. You were like, well, I said, what are you getting him? And you said something like,
I'm not getting him anything.
No, Nintendo or something like that. And then your mom was like, and we're getting him everything that he's getting for his mom's. Santa's bringing him one to our house as well because I'm buying one for. And you were like, Mom, and she's like, no, he's my grandson. He can have what he wants. Okay. Oh, this is scary. Embarrassing Peter Monn moment. Caroline, we need funny.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have
She
anything.
doesn't remember last week, let alone anything funny that happened in my life. I'm trying to think of something funny that happened while you and I were together.
Like when you were little? Oh, you mean recently? Like
Well, it
when
could be either, I guess.
I can't think of anything embarrassing. Can you?
I don't remember anything recently.
Next question.
FTLT. Can you explain FTLT?
So FTLT it's my husband's thing, and it's called first time, last time. So if he goes to like a city, we went to Gatlinburg. There's hopefully not. Well, I'm not going to dog.
Can we just make this an FTLT story, okay? Go ahead.
Oh, so first time, last time, you go someplace either for dinner or a city, and Mike will say FTLT, and then Peter started using it.
How did your moms feel about your grandmother being arrested? Love you guys. Oh, thank you. Love you too. We don't know. I mean, we didn't find out till after my mom died. And then when I talked to her, you never talked to your mom about it.
No, my mom was very, very private, and she cared a lot about what other people think, and we never talked about it. You asked her about it when she was still alive, but I don't.
We went to lunch and had a lot of
I don't
conversation
think I
about
was in that conversation.
No, we were at Sullivan's. Not Sullivan's, but
my mom wouldn't have. That generation didn't talk about it.
Can you explain a little bit? Because every time I talk about grandma and us wanting to research it and whatever, I always get a few comments from people that are kind of like, you guys shouldn't be sharing this. It's not yours to share. Can you kind of share it? And you can say it however language you want. It doesn't
really matter, does it?
No, right. And you're like, it's our fucking story. We can share whatever we want to share.
So I'm a real transparent person, and I just feel like if we want to go research it, I mean, it's not like I loved my grandmother so much. I was very, very close to her. She died when I was 16, and it was heartbreaking. I spent the night at her house every weekend until she died. I mean, it wasn't like just when I was little. I was very close to my grandmother, and she was a very good person, and she loved both of us a lot. So finding out that she was in prison
doesn't change how we feel about her.
Nothing. Not at all. And I think it was...
It explains a lot about how our mothers were, but it doesn't change
I think she went to prison for embezzlement, and I think it would, her husband...
Which time?
I probably both. I think that her husband died when, our moms were so little. And back then, it was just hard. She was a single mom. Moms didn't work and,
So we don't know how many times he went to prison. It could be 2. We think maybe it could have been 3 now.
No, I don't think it was 3.
I looked into stuff and I saw that.
Okay. We need to do a whole video on that, or a whole series.
We want to do that. But that's what I was saying, is that people are like, you shouldn't be exposing that. It's literally, Caroline and I are the end of we're it. Like, everything on our mom's side. Like, cousins. There were 2 cousins that came to her mom's funeral, and they're like, oh, we used to spend summers with you. I mean, they were like 85, and they're like the only other ones left. And Caroline's like, I've never met those people before in my entire life. So
yeah, I mean,
Caroline's like, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. It's our story. So, here's a good one. If you could go back and change one thing that you did in the past, what would it be? I'm gonna ask you that.
With you?
With anything. In your life. Well, and should we skip this?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to tell something.
Okay, let's, because that could get real. Who do you think?
Here's one thing. I think I wish I would have studied more in high school and cared more about grades. And then that would have led me to care more about, I didn't care about grades or school either when I went to school. I graduated, but it took me a long time. I wish I would have thought more about the education. That's something that I regret. Not regret. I hate the word regret.
Why?
So, I just don't. I feel like that you live life and it gives you experiences, and you grow and learn from those experiences.
I agree with that, but I have regrets. There's a lot of things I wish I would have done differently.
I don't think I have any regrets. I mean, something that I wish I would have had more insight on is studying more. And
because you're different now than who you were if that hadn't happened. I get that, but there's things in my life I wish that were different.
Okay.
What is a secret that you guys are keeping from one another? Would we even share it on here?
No, for sure we wouldn't. I don't think I have any secrets, though.
I have to be honest with you. Like, I have a very small circle in my life. It's Caroline, Tanya, Alex, my sponsor, Valerie, Nikki Mel. I mean, that's kind of it. And everybody in my life knows everything about me. I mean, we know the ins and outs of each other's marriage, family. I mean, we have Caroline, all the family stuff on both sides.
Yeah,
there's no secrets.
Open with my friends. I don't think I have.
There's not really anything that we're afraid to talk about with each other.
I'm not sure I'd talk about it on a video, but
I mean, I wouldn't bring it up in a video. And shame your dirty ass. No, I'm joking. Caroline is honest to God, one of the most giving, best people I have ever met. Like, there's not really a lot of, like, really horrible things that I could ever say about her. And Caroline also, like, this is one of my big things right now. Caroline is that person that will defend you in rooms you're not in. Like, if you said something about one of her friends, she'd say, I don't like it that you're talking about my friend that way. Like, she is loyal. My husband's loyal. Tanya, I have a lot of loyal people around me, and I'm very grateful for that. If your moms were both still alive, what would you say to them?
Peter and I talk about this a lot. Peter and I have the same view, I think, about our moms not being alive. They both died. His mom died way younger than my mom, but both died young, and we both miss our mothers, and we both had very close relationships with our mothers. But
it would have been very difficult.
Very difficult. They were difficult when they were alive. I mean, my mom, I had the best childhood, and I had a great mom when we were older, and we worked together, and I felt like work, but our personal relationship was it struggled. And if she was, well, first of all, I can't even imagine her being alive right now. I mean, she would have just been a horribly negative person, because she would have been older. Something that I could say,
we both talked about how
I felt like I said
if they were alive right now, I mean, they would be in their 80s. We would be like, my mom would be 81. Your mom would be like, what, 83, 82, 83?
82.
And so they would be, because they were really close together. I mean, in a retirement home, and it would be nonstop phone calls of us having to come there and deal with it. So, but one thing Caroline did say to me shortly after her mom passed away was, don't you just wish that we could have just one more day with, like, our moms and grandma? And, like, I think for me, like, when I look back, like, I don't know that I would say anything, but I just wish we had, like one more Thanksgiving or Easter. Our mothers loved Easter so much. I just wish we had, like, one more Easter left.
Which makes holidays hard.
They made holidays really pretty, because I think that their childhood was so ugly that holidays were a time. Our mothers were very much like, fork needed to be a certain way, glasses needed to be a certain way, centerpiece.
Everything was ironed.
And so I think they made everything was ironed.
Were ironed.
I think they made everything so pretty. Holidays were so fantastic for us to a certain point. When the drinking got heavy, it was bad. But when we were growing up, like Caroline said to me one time, we had a magical childhood at holidays. We really did. I mean, I think about those parties that your mom had. I mean, it was like gay guys over there dancing with our moms, and like people telling stories, and it just was fun. It was like, I think we were too young to really understand it. I remember us in our jammies sitting on the couch and probably being up way too late. And
well, when you say just one more day, I mean, I think that that's in a that's not a realistic world, you know. I mean, I think that would be nice, and I would, of course, I'd love, if she was healthy, I'd love to see my mom and grandma and my dad for one more day. But when I think about them being alive, I think that they would be in such bad health that it would just not be, it wouldn't be good.
Yeah. I think I'd just tell my mom I miss her.
Yeah.
And ask her if she's okay. How do you guys imagine cousin fun days when you're in your and when we're in our 80s? I thought it said when, like, in the 80s. I was like, oh.
Let's say the 70s.
Getting parachute pants and going. But no, they're saying, like, when we're in our 80s. But I'm talking about, like, parachute pants, the carousel.
Maybe I'll move into this neighborhood and we'll go to the pool.
Yeah.
For our birthdays.
Oh my God, one thing I will tell you is, though, I'm trying to convince her to watch because it's so messy, but she would love it. And Caroline loves any show that has any weird religiosity stuff to it. Like, what are some of your favorites?
Well, I love watching, like, Amish shows, Mormon shows. What was that one little Pray Petite? No.
Eat sweet,
Eat sweet. Like, I'm very...
Keep sweet, pray and obey.
Yeah. I don't want to say obsessed, but it's very interesting to me. Like, the cult stories about how people cult stuff, like, it's just so interesting to me how people can just start believing. I mean, they really that's part of their, you know, or even like Sister Wives. I mean, it's interesting. Like, she was one of the people that encouraged me to watch Sister Wives. Oh, I was obsessed with Sister Wives. Now I'm kind of over it. But
so I told her she should watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. But one thing they have in there is that, you know, I'm sober. I've been sober for 29 years. She hasn't, but I gotta get that in every once in a while. She's probably waiting for a Tito's and tonic right now. She's like, I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna eat a Tito's and tonic, take a nap, and go to my girls.
I'm gonna eat a corn dog when I get home.
Oh, she got corn dogs from, where'd you get them? Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's.
Okay, so, but I was telling her that they have these soda places there called Swig, apparently. Well, I got online last night, I put Swig, or soda pop places in Indianapolis, because there are places that you can go get, like, sodas, like fountain pop sodas, and they're building one like 5 minutes from here. I'm like, Caroline, it's not open yet, but we're gonna go. And she's like, we're gonna go and do a review.
It's gonna be Swig, or it's gonna be a different company?
It's called Swig.
Okay.
What was your biggest fight about? I don't know that we've ever fought. Like, Caroline and we're very even keeled. Have we had a fight?
No. Sometimes you irritate me, but...
Well, you irritate me sometimes too.
I don't think we fight.
The only thing is that, like, I'm very outward with my emotions. I think you would probably agree with this. Caroline holds a lot of it in. And so there will be days when I'm, like, joking and she's just not in an emotional space and she's like, not today. And then I know to back up. I mean, we communicate really well.
Well, sometimes if I have a lot of work stuff going on in the morning and I'm stressed when I get here and Peter's like, get in this lane or park in this spot, then I, like, blow up. And I'm like, don't tell me where to park.
You do the same thing to me, though.
I do. Where were we?
You need to go over here. You need to do this.
No.
I say to Caroline all the time, she needs to start a business called Let Caroline Run Your Life. Because she'll say to me, she doesn't say, have you ever thought about doing this? She'll say, what you need to do.
What store were we just in? And I said something.
Every store. Target, Costco, Trader Joe's. What'd you say to me?
And I said something to you, and you're like, you're trying to control my life. I can't remember what it was about.
I offered to buy you candles because you only wanted one candle out of the 3 at Trader Joe's, and I said, "Well,
why would I get a whole set of candles?
You go, why would you want?
Why would I want a whole set of candles when I'm just gonna have one?
But then I said, well, I
feel like I can still get that just one candle.
I just gave you a bracelet that you didn't even want. You gave back,
okay.
And then I said to you, I'll buy you a whole set of candles. They were only $9.99, and you go, I just want the autumn leaves, and you go, why do you even want the autumn leaves? Well, why do you even want the autumn leaves?
I didn't like the other one.
Okay, Meijer or Target?
Target. My gosh, Meijer.
I love Meijer so much.
My husband loves Meijer.
Do you ever wish for more siblings to make the cousin crew larger, or prefer just y'all? I'm good with it just being you and I.
Yeah, I mean, you know, people say that to me all the time. Not all the time, but especially when my parents were both sick. Oh, wouldn't it be great to have siblings? I will tell you that a lot of my friends that have siblings, they just don't end up helping or having this relationship. Like, I've never, not regretted, never been, I don't know what the word is, for not having, I mean, it wasn't my decision. But I never looked back and said my childhood was not good because I didn't have siblings. I mean, we were close, and I was close to Shannon and Darren on my other side, on my dad's side, those cousins. But I don't ever...
but you also are an only child mother. And I remember when you were thinking about having other kids, and you said to me, as an only child, and now having an only child, I really feel innately like I'm an only child mother. Like, you felt that. Like, like, as an only child, I feel like...
I don't remember saying that.
I have a different... I know, I'm sure, because it happened.
I have 2 stepsons. I think at the time we were thinking about having other kids. I mean, we had really 3 kids that, you know.
Okay, let's see. You guys asked some good questions. Feelings didn't change about our grandma after we found out about that. I just was curious about it. I'm not going to say, I don't have a least favorite friend of yours. Who's your least favorite friend of each other's? I love all your friends.
Yeah.
What's the juiciest tea Peter has ever shared with you? What is it?
I can't say. I don't even can't think of anything, but I can't say it on here.
Like YouTube tea? You don't care about any of this stuff.
No, YouTube tea I don't care about. I was just going to say that Mormon show, and I have not watched it, but that kind of reminds me of the dance people show.
The 7M TikTok, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a family tradition you think should be done away with? If there was, we just wouldn't do it.
No, we don't.
I mean, I said to her, are we doing Halloween? She goes, do you want me to? And I said, yeah, so we're going to do it.
So I used to always do, well,
chili dinners.
My mom had a Halloween until David started trick-or-treating.
Actually, my mom had a Halloween, then your mom had
my mom,
Halloween.
and then until David started trick-or-treating, then we started having it at my house. And it was, we would have, some years it was big because David was little and I'd invite the neighborhood. But recently, after our parents are gone and David's grown, I mean, now we just have chili. But yeah, we'll do Halloween.
If you could erase one event from your family history, what would it be and why? Like, collectively, our entire family together. I don't know that I would. I mean, honestly, we don't really have that many bad memories of our family together.
No, I remember Mom and Bobby fighting, but they fought after your mom was sober. I mean, my mom was still drinking, but I think if they were both ended up being sober, they still would have fought.
So I kind of talk around this issue in videos.
Okay. Oh,
do you think that your mom was an alcoholic?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not my place to put that on her, but you think she had a drinking problem?
Yes.
Because I kind of talk around that in videos because I don't feel like it's my place to really say that, but...
I think towards the end of her life, too, it got worse and worse.
So drinking, just to make this clear, I say drinking in my family, it really affected our childhood a lot. Like, a lot. Like, I can remember my mom...
I don't think it affected me as much as it affected you.
No, because...
I had my dad as a buffer.
But I also...
Who also drank a lot.
But I also remember... But he quit later.
He never quit. He drank until he died.
He slowed down, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, the last several years of his life, he'd had one drink a night.
So this is kind of a cool story. So, Caroline asked my dad to give a eulogy at her dad's funeral. Can I share the story?
Sure.
Is it going to make you emotional or
no,
anything? Okay.
Probably not.
So, Caroline... I'll probably get emotional sharing it. So, actually, this is going to stop in a second. So, we're at 20... Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to share the story real quick.
Why do you have to stop it?
Because the battery stops at 30 minutes, and we were at 27 minutes, so before I got in the story and started bawling my eyes out. So, my dad and Caroline's dad and Caroline's mom were really, really close their whole lives. And so, Caroline's dad had severe heart issues. It started right before he got married. He had...
95. Open heart surgery.
Open heart surgery, and then was a long-term heart patient his whole life, had stents and
he
all
had
kinds
second
of stuff.
open heart in 05, and then he had stents and stents and stents. Anyway, yes.
So at the end, he decided that he wasn't going to do hospice.
He turned his pacemaker off. He was in hospice actively. They wanted him to... No, that's not true. He was living at my house, and the specialist wanted him to have another surgery, and he said, I don't want to do that, and so he decided to turn his pacemaker off.
He just was done.
Done.
So basically, if anything else happened, he would just pass away. But he actually lived quite a little bit after that.
4 months.
4 months. And so, at the end, when things were getting bad, it was a couple days before. So at that point, Caroline had reconstructed her house, and so... where her living room and dining room is now was her dad's quarters. And so they made like a whole bathroom in there.
Quarters, like my house is huge. It's very small, but we made it work. He slept in the dining room.
It was not, but it wasn't like there was a dining room table, but you changed it into a suite.
A very small closet, and then we made the half bath into a full bath. Yeah.
So a couple days before, my dad came over there. And so my dad gave a eulogy at my uncle's funeral. And my dad shared the story of him seeing my uncle for the last time. And, he said he sat down at my uncle's bed. My dad, like, brought a big bottle over of, like, my uncle's favorite whiskey. And, so he was sitting there.
It wasn't actually his favorite. So Dad's favorite whiskey was really cheap.
Oh, that's part of the joke, yeah.
So Uncle Larry brought over a bottle of very expensive. Well, also my dad was very, he's kind of like me, OCD about times. And so he would have, my husband actually set an alarm. So Mike would make him his scotch every day at 6:55 right before Lester Holt. Well, Larry came over at like 5 with this bottle of not his favorite scotch, a real expensive scotch, which was so nice. And Dad's like, I can't have, it's not 6:55 yet, so
yeah,
I can't. I'm like, Dad, you're dying. Like, you can probably have a scotch before. But anyway, he did not have one.
Yeah, so that was the end part of the story, because my dad said that to him right before he left. He's like, can we have a drink together? And he was like, no, because it's not 6:55 yet. And I don't know who Lester Holt is. Who is that?
You don't know who Lester Holt is?
No, is it somebody problematic and real political or something?
No, it's just an NBC anchor.
I don't know anything about him.
It's 7 o'clock news.
Okay, so anyway, but my dad sat on the end of the bed with him. I think about this a lot. Don't laugh right now, I'm crying.
Oh.
But I think about this a lot when you talk about like friendships and lifelong friendships. And like in the moment when my dad was sharing the story, I thought about like Caroline and I, my friend Tanya Jean and I, and other friends I've had. You know, my dad and her dad knew each other like their whole lives since they were in their 20s. I mean, my dad said to me the other day, he said, my dad just turned 84, and he said, their birthdays are a day apart, my dad and Caroline, and he just turned 84, and he said...
I did not even know that.
Our wedding anniversary.
I mean, I think the saddest thing about our dads is when your parents got divorced.
Their friendships kind of went apart a little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, but they still kept talk and stuff.
But very lightly. And I think that was hard for Dad because they were best friends, and then because of how divorce was handled back then, and they just weren't friends anymore.
Right. So, no, I forgot what I was going to say. But I think about this a lot as far as there's somebody running behind my car or behind your car right now. So
the eulogy, your dad saying that at the eulogy.
I think about this a lot about like the meaning of life. I think my dad really encapsulated in this moment the reality of it that we don't really talk about, you know, and I've had so many friends of mine and so many people that I've known that have died tragically, and I think it's a blessing to be surrounded by people. Like, I'm so grateful that my mom passed and I was, you know, everybody was around her. And so my dad sat on the end of the bed with Dave and Dave said, I'm probably never going to see you again, am I? And my dad is somebody that, like, emotionally is very pragmatic. And he looked at him and he said, I don't think we're ever going to see each other again. And my dad said, you know, Dave's not a hugger. I'm a hugger, but he didn't really want to hug me, but I hugged him anyway. And just said, like, it's been a really good life, you know. My dad said to me on the phone the other day, he said, I'm like the only one that's alive. Like, I'm the only one left. I can't imagine, like...
It's hard to get old.
Okay, we need a funny one to end this out. Have either of you been to Canada? I have.
I have not. I have not. I'm going to Alaska.
Why are these people asking sad questions? I hate them. You're going to pick a question I don't want to answer. Oh, we didn't. Okay, they're all done.
What are both of your skincare routines? Do you have a skincare routine?
Yeah, laying out in the sun.
Yeah, I don't really. The only thing I'm right now doing is I'm really trying to take off my makeup every night. And then I have an under eye.
What?
Yeah, that's about it.
Oh, girl.
Then I have an under eye serum that I put on at night and in the morning, and I got it in my last FabFitFun box, and I don't know what it's called. And then I'm using this amazing moisturizer with sunscreen in it from Kiehl's that I love. It's in a yellow bottle.
And you're also using the most fantastic Fenty Balm lip balm in the entire world. Okay, if you and Peter moved in together, where would you want to live?
Oh gosh, we could not move in together.
You don't think we would do well?
Mm-mm.
Where would we live though if we lived somewhere? Not
Here?
in Indianapolis. Here? In this condo? Girl.
I think it's probably a little too small.
Okay, I agree. What is your favorite childhood memory together? I know mine.
Okay.
My favorite childhood memory together is that every Halloween, or every holiday, Caroline had a lot of the Fisher-Price people in the houses in the towns.
Funny. I knew you were going to say that.
Did you?
And we'd play them on
And
the
I had
sunroom.
mine too. And so we would separate all the people, all the cars, all the houses, the furniture, everything. And then I would pick a person, she would pick a person, and she would pick a car. And then we kind of set up our towns, and then we're just done.
Well, and we didn't fight. You know, it's like we grew up as siblings.
We never fought. And our parents really wouldn't tolerate it. Our grandma would cry if anybody fought.
Well, but we didn't fight because we weren't siblings. You know, when you have siblings living in the same house every day, day in, day out, that's why they fight. You know, and so we just got together and played, and I do remember the Fisher-Price people.
Do you have a favorite childhood memory? Oh, and
I love all the food. Like, that's what I remember. Like, the deviled eggs, the buttered rolls,
Those are all the art stuff. My mom made the deviled eggs, and we brought the buttered rolls from Taylor's.
and macaroni and cheese.
Don't say their names, okay? But your neighbors, the kids, you're still friends with her today.
Okay.
And the four of us, and I have a picture, it was from Easter, and we sat outside and we sang Delta Dawn. I remember that.
Delta Dawn,
what's that flower you have on? So one of the things I do want to say before we end this, because I talk a lot about my grandma, that is something that Caroline and I both want to look into, but a lot of it is going to, like, social services offices, Division of Family Children, Department of Corrections.
We'll wait to do that when it's a little bit winter.
That's what we've talked about, yeah. One of the things I do want to say, though, why it's interesting to me, since Caroline did talk about her mom in here, is that we come from a family of alcoholism, which I think is important to talk about. I think as a person in recovery that and I joke about Caroline drinking. I just want you guys to know that if I thought Caroline had a serious problem, I would say to her, not on camera, but I would say, I'm worried about your drinking. Have I ever had that question? No, I do not worry about that with her. Our grandmother did not drink at all. They would call her a teetotaler. Our grandfather, we found out, was a bartender at a very famous bar here in Indiana.
Town.
It just closed down here. Yeah. The original, though. What was it called?
Thunderbird.
And so we found out that he was a bartender. He died at 36 or 39 from lung cancer. And my mom would say he smoked like 5 packs of Reds a day or 5 packs of cigarettes a day, and he drank a lot.
We don't know if it was cancer.
So we think that, like, he drank a lot, which would make sense that our mothers did to some degree.
Well, our step-grandfather drank a lot.
Yes, a lot. And I believe...
he smelled like beer and cigarettes every time he was around.
You remember him a lot, which is interesting to me.
The way he smelled, I remember. And I remember her gum, the juicy fruit gum.
Yeah, what other things do you remember? Because we remember different things.
Juicy fruit gum. I remember the way her Zippos smelled. You know, like when you pop open a Zippo.
And you said loose meat.
Loose meat sandwiches on Wonder Bread.
On Wonder Bread? That is so gross.
It was so good. And she would also make me on Wonder Bread, butter and sugar.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and then I remember her playing solitaire and just like smoking.
She smoked
all the time.
Literally every picture I think I have of my grandmother. Do you remember that dog? Well, my grandmother, first of all, had 8x10s.
The yellow dog.
She gave me a yellow dog. But her dog, Misty, do you remember? She had black labs, and she would have 8x10s in her house, like, of her dog's face, like, just like this. But every picture, so, when I was growing up, every picture I have of my grandmother, she's got a cigarette in her hand. If she's sitting there at Christmas, we're open presents, there's a cigarette in grandma's hand. Constantly, she smoked Salem Lights. I'll never forget that. And she did, I mean, I'll never forget, like, on the grocery store. My grandma smoked in the grocery store. I remember we got yelled at. You don't remember that story, but she don't remember anything. In my book that I wrote, I put in these snow globes, and Caroline goes, Grandma had snow globes? I go, no, Caroline, I made that up.
It's a book.
It's
a fake book.
It's a fictional book. But I think the family history is interesting to me because as somebody that believes in the genetic predisposition of addiction, I think it's interesting when you look back at our family history and then to know that we also, I think, heavily have mental health issues, both my mother and your mother, in our family history, which I think would be interesting for us to understand our own histories and then understand the poverty of it all, because our mothers moved like 10 times in 12 years, house to house to house to house, and they rented their houses, and they were very poor. My mom would say we were very, very, very poor when we were growing up.
Well, a lot of the drinking, too, with my mom and dad was so social. Everybody drank so much.
Cocktail hour.
All the time.
Yeah, it was pretty. I always call my mom the pretty drinker.
It was very, dad would get home from work and mom it was very like old school. My mom started working when I was young, but it was because she wanted to, but it was very like traditional family. And all my mom's parties, she loved having parties. It was like Mad Men,
it was like Mad Men. It's perfect, Mad Men, but that's perfect analogy. I think what makes me sad looking on the other side of it, and you don't look that deep into it, you're more interested now that we've talked more about it, about the grandma stuff, but there was a period where you're like, I don't really care. As a person in recovery, and Caroline knows all my friends in recovery, she knows that, everything about it, but looking at it, it's hard for me to look at some of those Christmases and not see that there was a lot of sadness, a lot of addiction, veiled by dancing, loud music, and fun. When I look back on it now, that there was a lot of sadness underneath all of that. And I think specifically with our moms, and I think if I understood that a little bit more, it would make me understand my own history. So thank you for going on that journey with me. Do you like the word journey, or do you think it's bullshit?
I don't like journey.
What word do you use?
About what? Just the life that we're living? No, we're just living life.
What's our favorite song together, do you think?
I don't know. What is that?
Somebody said, would you ever try to drive again? No, I've made the decision to never drive again, and everybody in my life knows that and respects that.
Is this about you and me questions, or is it?
Well, I'm just answering because I have it, and I haven't talked about that except for on my vlog. It's a decision that I made. I think it's the right decision. With Caroline and Alex and Ubers, I don't have to drive anywhere. For the family of the man that passed away, and I talked to them and I told them that, I feel like it was the right decision, and I don't ever want to get in a car and ever risk that again. So, should we answer one more funny question? And then
sure. Can we find a funny one?
Oh, this will be good. Pick a death row meal. Has to include drink, appetizer, entree, and dessert. Oh, I think ours will be very similar with this.
Well, the meal I had last night at that pizza place, I love
just
it so
like
much.
Your favorite meal, not like you want some
fettuccine Alfredo from Olive Garden. And those breadsticks.
That would be your entree?
Yeah. What would yours be? Macaroni and cheese.
Macaroni and cheese.
Homemade macaroni and cheese.
No, out of the box.
No.
You love that grandma shit with the milk on the bottom. It's gross.
The milk, it's so good. And the crusty top.
For those of you that have never heard it, so my aunt used to make our grandma's macaroni and cheese that was homemade, that has the milk on the bottom, and it's gross.
It's not milk on the bottom. It's not supposed to have milk on the bottom.
Okay, but anyway,
it's so good.
One year, my mom said to her, Kathy, Peter doesn't even, she used to make it for me because I love the macaroni and cheese. And so my aunt stopped making it because my mom said to her, Peter doesn't even like that grandma's macaroni and cheese. Because she'd always say, I made grandma's macaroni and cheese for you.
Peter. And
so
I'm like, it's my favorite.
So 2 years go by and Caroline goes, why don't you make grandma's macaroni and cheese anymore? And her mom said, because that was Peter's favorite, not yours. Because that was my favorite.
It was always my favorite. And I'm like, what the hell happened to?
I would have either pizza. That's changed because I, love pizza. But either box macaroni and cheese. Mine would be very simple. Box macaroni and cheese, Kraft. The simple kind. The tall skinny box. A peanut butter sandwich. What was the other ones?
Well, you have to have a drink.
Entree and, drink, appetizer. Diet Dr. Pepper. And a dessert, a piece of pecan pie with white ice cream, with vanilla ice cream.
My favorite dessert is wedding cake, white icing, white cake.
You never eat any dessert, ever.
I had dessert last night. I had cannolis.
What'd you have?
Cannolis and this, I'm not going to pronounce it right, but it's an Italian dessert that's real flaky.
But my one question would be, how many points is that cannoli?
A lot.
Because she's constantly...
I've fallen off
she
the
won't do
Weight
anything. Oh, you have?
Well, I haven't gone in 6 weeks. I know, because I've been out of town.
You know what you need?
What?
A weight loss journey.
I know.
She said to me today, are you still doing those videos? I go, girl, it's maintenance at this point. So yes, I'm doing okay.
Okay, this was a great video.
There she is, we're done. So anyway, thank you so much for being on this video.
Welcome.
This was fun. And thank you for getting me out of my mind today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's what people and friends and family are for, and I love you so much.
I love you too.
All right, say goodbye to everybody.
Bye.